Hello, and welcome to this little Christmas special where I will be talking about medication. So one of the reasons why I am making this video is because as a nurse, obviously, we do give a lot of medication, and people also take medication at home. So I think it's interesting that people know what are the surveillance that a nurse should be doing when you take medication, when we give medication. Therefore, the same surveillance that you should be thinking about when you take medication also at home. So we have something called the 8 rights, which is a way to remember that you're taking good medication and things that you should surveil when you take it. So first thing that we want to make sure when we're giving medication is to make sure that we have the right patient, so the right person. That's why when you're at the hospital, you'll see that people have bracelets, so it's to have a double verification to make sure that we're giving the medication to the right person. As I said, during Christmas holidays, sometimes people want to take medication from family, their aunt or uncle, because they're tired or weary or anxious. Just be careful about that because maybe you're not the right patient for that medication. So the second thing that we want to make sure is make sure that you're taking the right medication. Obviously, some bottles can look a lot alike, but you do want to make sure that you're taking the right medication for yourself and also for the effects. So what you want to make sure is sometimes when you mix medication up, for example with alcohol, you might not have a very good effect depending on the medication you're taking, obviously. You want to make sure certain interactions, for example with grapefruit also. So always make sure that you're taking the right medication. So there. Now, another thing that you want to verify is that you're taking the right method of administration. So, which means certain medications you're supposed to take orally, so certain medications on the skin, certain medications supposed to melt on the tongue, other medications you're supposed to take IV or in the muscular. Usually that can be more nurses that will give that kind. But there is one thing that's very important, though, is when you're taking oral medication, some medications are not supposed to be cut up because there's something protecting the medication so that it's absorbed only further during your body. So that's something that you want to maybe make sure if you're cutting up medication. Another thing that you want to make sure is to have the right moment. So you want to make sure that you're taking the medication at the right moment, which means some medication will make you drowsy, some medication will make you tired, so maybe you want to take those more at night. Also, certain medications, you want to make sure, mostly pain medications, you want to make sure that you're taking them before you hit a certain peak of pain, because or else it's very hard to stabilize the pain. Always verify with your pharmacist or your nurse, but I would say that in general, when you're between 6 and like 4 and 6 on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst pain, you might want to start taking that medication a little bit earlier to make sure that it actually works, or else it'll be very hard to ease that pain up. Now, another thing that we want to make sure when you take medication is to have the right dosage, so to respect the posology, that's the medication that you're taking. The problem is that sometimes some medications are very, very small but very, very strong. We see this very much with the fentanyl crisis that's happening in Canada. Obviously, it's been happening for a while now, but for example, fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine, which makes it so that you have to take a very, very, very small quantity to get the same effect, so it can be very dangerous. One of the images that I like to give is coffee, or if you put water in sugar, sugar and water, if you start filling up your cup, what will happen is that it'll just accumulate at the bottom. So it's a little bit the same thing for your body. It won't be sweeter, so just to respect the dosage that the doctors have given you. Now, another thing that you want to make sure is that you're taking your medication for the right reason. Obviously, medication will have a certain time of effect, so you want to make sure that at that peak of the moment, where like at the peak of the moment where the medication is supposed to have that effect, that it's actually working for the right reason, so for the reason that you're taking that medication. So that's something that you want to verify. Certain, for example, antidepressants can take weeks before they actually have an effect. So So just, make sure you consult your pharmacist or doctor if you have any questions on that. Now, also interactions. If you're taking medication, there are certain, I've already spoken about this a little bit, but, sometimes you never know. Maybe you'll have allergies or intolerances, or the secondary effects won't work for you. So always consult on that. Another thing, so that's it. It's the right documentation and the right reason that you're taking the medication. I do suggest that not only do you make sure that you're taking it for the right effect, but making sure that you take the medication. I suggest those little compartments to make sure that you've actually taken the medication and to not double the dosage. So that's some way. Usually, as a nurse, we're going to be writing it down, but like at home, you might not be doing that. So sometimes have a container that reminds you when you have to take your medication. If you take it, could actually help. Another thing that we can also verify is the date of expiration. So you never know exactly how much the medication will stop having effect after the date that it has been expired. It will work a little bit less well, but just always verify that your medication is not expired. Obviously, there's a lot more information that you can get about medication. This is very general, and I hope that it does help you a little bit out. But just remember that you're the one taking the medication. So technically you're your own doctor, so you just gotta watch out for yourself also. So there you go. On this note, happy holidays!